Hello. Happy Sunday night. Welcome back to What She Said, the daily live stream for What She Said Sports. How is everybody doing? All right. Can y'all hear me? I hope y'all can hear me. Welcome back to What She Said, the daily live stream podcast for What She Said Sports. It's Sunday night. We'll give everybody time to gather. Today was today was nice. Today was nice. Play some music while we wait. Play the intro.
Yeah, welcome fam, it's Five. Break it down, talking sports, hard hustle. Where the crowd, subscribe to the journey. Don't sleep on the grind. Hit the like button. Come on, don't be blind. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes. Together we rose, reaching higher and higher. From hoops to the griddle, we cover it all. Champions rise and together we never fall. Join the fam, we celebrate every win. What she said, let's meet where the passion begins. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes. Together we rose, reaching higher and higher. Welcome aboard, let's make it loud. What she say, rip her out of the crowd.
All right. Welcome back, guys. It is Sunday, and I think tomorrow is the last day of March. It'll officially be April. And what that means is this coming Friday, in 5 days from now, technically 4 days, the fifth day will be April 4th, which is CU's Pro Day. Now, I know some people are looking forward to April 1st because it's April Fool's Day, the pranksters, the jokesters. But me, I'm looking forward to CU Pro Day. So that's the topic of conversation tonight. We're discussing, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. And once we officially hit April 1st, then we'll be 23 days away from the NFL draft. So April is it's a very special month, life-changing month for our players from CU and other players at other universities. So let's get into it. All right. I've been watching Shiloh work out. Y'all know he's been diligent, having the folks who do the timing for the combine to come out to see you and teach him how to use, I guess you could say, the measuring system in terms of measuring his 40. And I don't know, some of you may have heard that Coach Prime said to Shiloh, hey, what kind of car you want? If you run a 4.4, I'll buy you a car. And, Shiloh went into talking about their taste, this, that, and the other. And Bucky asked him about the cleats he was running in. You're not wearing your dad's shoes. And he was like, man, I'm trying to get this car. I'm trying to get this car. So he's really trying to get the car. And it was reported that he ran a low 4.4. So something 4.4 something. And when you say low, that means 5 is the middle ground. 6, 7, 8, 9, if you know how to estimate, goes up, right? So low would be 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, and 4, 4, 0. Now, they've been keeping the timing secretive, but when they said he ran a low 4, 4 or something, I said, okay. And I did watch when he did one run. Miss Lauren was out there as well as the other guy. I don't know his name. He's always out there. They both timed him, and their reactions kind of told you that he did surprisingly good or he did really good. And I think that's where he ran a low 4, 4 came from. And there were people actually at home trying to time it with their TV, trying to time it from the video. I tried it. I'm not gonna lie, I tried it. But if you read the comments on Well Off Media, people are saying, he was sliding. He was doing really, really well. So congratulations to Shiloh. I think he'll do really well. Now, here's the thing about the race, the 440 the 40-yard dash that you have to complete. You can't just run it once. You have to run it multiple times for consistency, right? So I don't know what happens if he runs a low 4-4 and then maybe runs a middle 4-4. I remember LaJohntay and Jimmy Horn Jr. running. Their times were damn near spot on. 4-4-5, 4-4-4, something like that. We talked about for QB, young man from Arizona, Jalen Milroe ran a 4.37 for a QB. That's blazing fast, right? Hell, we might look up and he might be the first pick in the draft in Tennessee because that's blazing fast speed. I don't know what Shadour's 40-yard time is, but nobody seems to be worried about it. So Shiloh, like I said, has been diligent. People telling him to pick up a camera when everybody came back from the Shrine Bowl. He wasn't invited to the combine, and he was like, "Look, y'all talking about the camera, but the money that Bucky makes, whew, yeah, I heard Bucky's up there." So, in other words, getting behind the camera is nothing to sneeze at. And I believe Shiloh would be drafted. I'm sorry, I believe he'll be drafted. But it's nice to see him applying the effort consistently, diligently, going out of the way to get the people in from the testing system, the same testing system, having those people to teach him how to use it and what he's looking for and to measure himself against others. And I think one of the most impressive feats of the measuring system, the analytics part, is that when he runs the 40, the analytics comes back and tells him how many people ran his time, how many people ran the time slower than his, and how many people ran the time faster than his. So it's not like he's just getting his own time. He knows how many people he has to try to beat out. So, for instance, he ran a low 4.4. Well, what it does is they plug in the data and it's like, okay, this person ran XYZ and you're on par with, this person with a low 4.4. So I'm hoping, I don't know if he's going to get a 4.40, but hell, he might. But the thing is, how close, if he gets a 4.40, how close is it on the second and third times? Is it like a 4.40, 4.42, 4.43? And if so, then, he should be a lock to go in the second round, in my opinion. All right, let's see who's in here. Milroe, Alabama. Hey, Atlanta, Africa. How you doing? Nice to have you back. Yep, Milroe ran a 4.37 for a QB. That's blazing fast speed, I'm telling y'all. I think they said QBs are, hell, almost like 4.5s in a 5 or something like that. They're not expected to be 4.37s, but Milroe definitely is. All right, so let's take a look at this video. And then we're going to have a conversation about our guys' next step. And we're going to talk about some of the outcomes of when they get drafted, they make the team, and then they get cut. Now, we're not gloom and doom by any means, but there was an interview done with a gentleman who played professional ball, and his story was kind of heartbreaking in my opinion. And I thought about our guys, we got what? It's about 7 guys maybe trying to get drafted. And, we we don't know how many are going to get drafted. And then out of those that get drafted, we don't know how many are going to make that cut. And his story was one of that he actually made the cut and still got cut. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to get into this video. It's the guys that are working out, at CU. So it doesn't have any audio. So understand, I don't put out audio with it. So, all right. So this is Shiloh getting ready to line up and run what I think might have been his race where he did the low 4.4, and they taught him it's all about coming out of the stance, and honestly, I watched him. He did good. He did good. But they told him, the guys from the man from the testing system. He said the race is won in the first few seconds on how you come out of that position. So, and I know these guys tend to get nervous sometimes. I know you got to be nervous with everybody watching you, but I mean, shout out to Shiloh for actually staying with it. He could have just rested on his dad's name, but what did his dad say? Shiloh's going to have to work his butt off. What has Shiloh been doing? Working his butt off. And a low 4.4 score is, I think, the reward for his hard work. So I don't think they're going to pass him up in the draft. All right. Now, this is Shedeur. We know Shedur's been at CU working out with the guys. He's been doing private workouts as well. This is him, I think, Mater High School. I think this might have been in Florida, just outside of Miami, when he was there. So, kids, everybody loves Shedeur. That's my thing. Everybody loves Shedeur. So it's nice to see, the kids around him. But I notice whenever he goes to practice at a school, he doesn't just use the practice facilities or the field. He actually interacts and gets to meet the kids. I'm telling y'all, Shedeur is that guy. Now, yesterday we were talking about, on my last live stream, we were talking about jersey sales, right? And I was talking about who's going to Tennessee. Is it Shedeur? Is it Cam? And I said overall, when you factor in everything, not just the mechanics and the technical aspect of the game, when you look at it from a business perspective, I say Shedeur. And I believe that is why we're starting to hear Dallas into the conversation. Now, understand this. Some people say that's a rumor that can't be traded. But then other people have refuted it and said that can be traded. He just has to agree to it. And they said Jerry Jones got enough money that he'll agree to it if it comes down to it, right? And then, people have been telling Shedeur, word on the street is he's going to Cleveland. I don't know. I don't know. If that gets, to the point where they're like, hey, we want to go ahead and move you to Cleveland, then Shedeur is going to Dallas. But if Dak refuses the trade, I don't know what happens to him after that. But if he refuses the trade and stands by his no trade clause, Shedeur might be in Cleveland. That's what people are hearing. Again, we believe it's the Raiders, but I told y'all I'm kind of thinking Pittsburgh too. And again, you heard that story about him dropping in the draft. He's not dropping. When they say that, you know who they're talking about? They're talking about the Saints, or they're talking about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has the number 21 pick. What I've come to understand about the media is they know Shedeur's name brings clicks. And that's what they're using it for. I just don't understand why it has to be negative to get clicks. I get it. You want to put his name in the title and people are going to click on it. Why does it have to be a negative story? That's just what I don't understand, but whatever. So when you hear that he's dropping, they're talking about the Saints or they're talking about Pittsburgh. I'm not against Pittsburgh. Of course, everybody's thinking the Raiders. From a business perspective, I'm thinking Dallas. Immediate place to start, Pittsburgh. Because, see, I don't know if he would get to start with the Raiders. That's why I'm a little lukewarm on the Raiders. So, each team has his aspects. If he goes to Cleveland, obviously we expect him to start. So I want Shedeur to go somewhere where he can start. And to me, that's either Cleveland or Pittsburgh. I don't even know about the Saints. I'm from New Orleans. The Saints got their own politics happening too. And it was already said that Kellen Moore wanted a new quarterback, but the GM was loyal to Derek Carr. So I don't want you doing that kind of mess. That's what I mean. So business decision, the Dallas Cowboys. Where he probably wants to go, he said he didn't care. Where we thought he was going, I'll say it that way. The connection, Tom Brady. And then Pittsburgh, where I think he could start. So that's it. Those are the picks for me. Let's see. Atlanta Africa said it's a technique to run in the 40. And Shiloh's been being added by the new strength and condition. Oh, aided by the new strength and conditioning coach. Yep. And I saw a video when he first started working out, when the analytics team came up to the university. They were telling him the first few minutes, seconds, the races won in the first few seconds. And I think, was it Coach, what's his name? The strength and conditioning coach, Andrew Stacy, is that his last name? He said, I see, I told you. So he had already been telling Shiloh that. So yeah, he's being helped by Shiloh. I mean, by the strength and conditioning coach. Then he has to group up from the team that does the measuring for the race itself. So he went out of his way. And you know, I think by this point, I believe teams know who they're going to draft. I really do. I think the Raiders know who they're going to draft, and they know when they're going to draft that person. I think the conversation about Dallas is enticing because we know how Dallas gets down. It's all about business for Dallas. It's like, okay, look, we know Shedeur is a good athlete, but we also know if I got to choose between QBA and Shedeur Sanders, Shedeur going to sell me some jerseys. Now, remember, I said that Bronny James sold how many jerseys? What, 50,000? Some weird odd number that made 500,000. I think it was 500,000 jerseys or 50,000 jerseys, and it made them $50 million. And I remember when they were in school at the same time, when Bronny was at USC, I think Bronny may have had the higher valuation between he and Shedeur. But then once Bronny left, Shedeur sat at the top. And then it just escalated to like $6 million. And I don't think Bronny had ever hit $6 million. So what that should tell you is we're talking about basketball versus football. Now, I want you to understand, football makes more money than basketball. I know basketball players make more money. But when you look at terms of compensation for the league and how they get this done, it seems that football rakes in more cash when it comes to merch and tickets. Why? For obvious reasons. They play 17 games that in arenas that fill up 80,000 people. That's a lot of money. And imagine Shedeur Sanders having a Dallas Cowboys jersey with the number 2 on it, not 21 like his dad, the number 2 on it that says Sanders. How many jerseys did Bronny sell? Okay. I think he's going to reach that or exceed it. We were talking about it here at home. And I think what I said was there's going to be those Dallas Cowboy fans who have those 21 Sanders jerseys. And they're going to be in a family with somebody. And they're going to be going to the game. And some of them going to have on the 21 jersey. And at least 1 or 2 of them is going to have on the Sanders jersey. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Shedeur is already a star. I feel like as soon as we find out where he's going, if it's Dallas, it's all about business. Jerry Jones did tell Shedeur, we're gonna have to do some trading. So I don't know. I'm not saying that's what I want, but I can see it from a business perspective because why? He's from Dallas. Coach Brian played there. And honestly, if you look at any video, there's a video out there from when Shedeur and Coach Prime were on the sidelines. I think this when Coach Prime maybe had just gotten to Colorado in season 1. The way Jerry Jones smiled when he saw Shedeur, it's like he just saw the money bag right there. He just saw bags of money. I mean, because that's how he makes decisions. They said it was a QB that played for them. The guy was supposed to get a $500,000 incentive if he took most of the snaps for the season because Dak was out injured. They said Jerry Jones himself had the guy pulled from the game so he didn't have to pay him that money. Not that, and some fans agree with it because he wasn't good. So he would have got the money based on his presence. He wasn't going to get the money based on his performance. So because his performance wasn't good, it's reported that he got pulled from the game at the last opportunity that he needed to take the snap to get the 500,000, and he did not get the money. Football is a cold, cruel game. It seems like, and it just might be sports, but whew, imagine you thinking you get ready to get $500,000 and you don't get it, and that's going to lead into my story that I talked about. All right, so let's keep going. So we got Jimmy Horn Jr. Jimmy is very confident in himself. I'm watching him work out, and his walk is even a little different. It's like he has some type of assurance about himself that I know I'm good. Not good at playing the sports, but I know I'm good at the next level. And maybe that comes from different teams asking him not to work out. And then at the combine, his interviews, right? So he got a little confidence, assurance in his step. I love to see it. And honestly, when he was interviewed I think on somebody's show, they asked him what he thought he might be doing. He said, I'll probably be doing punt return. Now, for him to say that, he's had some conversations where somebody's bringing him in to do punt return. I'm going to just go with Pittsburgh. So if I could get Shador and Jimmy on the same team in Pittsburgh, believe me, I will be happy. I will be ecstatic. That'll be the first time I have two jerseys from the same team. But I even posted on IG. Shador threw up a pass where he was basically caught up in traffic with the line not holding up, but he got the pass off, but he got bumped a little bit. And the ball was in the air, and Jimmy just picked it off like a bird and just turned on those gears that he has. So, Jimmy walks with assurance, like he knows he's going to the next level. He knows what he's going to be doing. And he has impressed some folks, and he knows some things. So that's the way he walks now. So I love to see it. I love to see it. And then we have LeJohntay. So LeJohntay Wester, it's his birthday. And I wanted to make sure I say happy birthday, LeJohntay. I think he's 23. It says online that his birthday was the 29th, which was what, just yesterday? So he's 23, but I will say this. LeJohntay has put on some weight. He looks like he's NFL ready. To me, he was on the small side, and maybe that was a comment somewhere because he has put on some frame size. So LeJohntay has been also doing the work, not just the physical work, but his diet, putting on what appears to be like muscle. And, I, for one, am happy to see it. And then there's Will Shepherd. Will Shepherd, just out there working out with the guys. I'm happy to see him up there. These guys look like they're going to the league together. That's what it's giving. It's giving Will Shepherd, LeJohntay, Jimmy Horn, the wide receiver core, the elite wide receiver core, training, working out together at CU. It looked like they might get drafted. They might not be going to the same place. I hope two out of the group go together. Y'all know who the two is. But everybody seems to be doing what they need to be doing. LeJohntay put on some weight. I think when I read about LeJohntay's combine profile or player profile, that I think it was his size that they did kind of comment about his size being small. But again, what's his name? Javonta Smith. Javonta Smith has a small frame, and he has no problem winning the Super Bowl with his team. So I just kind of dismissed that sometimes. But he did not. LeJohntay did not. He put on some mass. He put on some muscle mass. He looks good. So I would expect when we see Travis, because he's not up there working out, he's somewhere else. And that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I would expect him to look bigger in size as well. So LeJohntay did the work. Will Shepherd is up there doing the work. I think Shador was up there, but I think he's gone off to do his private workouts. I think I heard he had private workouts with the Titans in Cleveland, not the Giants. That's good. That's good. So they could get somebody else. So that's the guys just doing their thing. So I just put together this video with the guys doing their thing. So uh, that was my video. So let's talk about this interview that I heard earlier today. Okay, so y'all know Shannon Sharpe has Club Shay Shay, right? And on Club Shay Shay, he interviewed Terry Crews. Now, if you see the interview, drop a hand raise into the chat because you probably know what I'm getting ready to say. Let me see who's in the chat really fast. Oh, 20 of us. All right. Hit the like button, 20 of us on a Sunday night. I appreciate it. Hey, James. Kiel said Queen T. Okay. Jimmy Horn will be the steal of the draft. I agree. I totally agree. It says he's coming out of college, can throw like Matt Ryan, Jim Kelly, Brett Favre, and Drew Brees. Pocket passer, 35, 45-yard missile on deck, but they want him to be a dual threat only. So sad. I don't know clearly there's conversation happening here. I'll try to catch up. All right, so there will be some chess moves. Oh, I agree. James has been telling us the entire time, Atlanta. James has been telling us the 4 minutes in the green room. He said we are going to be surprised as to who goes where. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if Jalen Milroe pop up to the first pick. I'm telling you, you do not leave 4.37 QB speed and dual threat out. You just don't. I said the same thing about Will Shepherd. His size. If you look at his size, his ability to catch the ball, I mean, you don't leave that out. You don't leave that out. I think the guys that's up there working out together are getting drafted. That's what I think. Plus Travis, right? One scenario has Travis going to the Giants. I think they were trying to be funny though. They were trying to say Jameis Winston was going to actually be the QB. And then it's a whole nother conversation about Russell Wilson. I said I wasn't going to talk about it here, but I got to talk about it. I didn't like what Shannon Sharpe said about Russ. Okay, so Shannon Sharpe has a caption on one of his latest Nightcap episodes that says, is Russ going out sad or Russ is going out sad? It's either a question or it's a statement. But either way, it's wrong. And people were challenging him in the comments. And I'm like, Shannon, I know you know darn well. You know he was in Denver. So you an alum of the NFL. You know this man's being blackballed. Come on now. I know you know about this collusion case. I read about it again today. And the question that people are asking is, why is nobody talking about it? You see how much power the NFL has to basically keep the media, the same media that's coming down on Shador, quiet about the NFL found guilty of collusion. That's what the headlines say, but nobody won't talk about it. And I'm like, Shannon, why would you say he's going out sad like that? That man is not going out sad. And people pose the suggestion that he just went to the Pro Bowl last year. What, his 10th Pro Bowl? He went to the playoffs. He just got another contract for $10 million. And online, you know how when you look up something, AI has like an opinion. And I asked, is Russell Wilson being blackballed? I wanted to see what he was going to say. Sometimes I ask you questions just to kind of see what's out there. It's just a scraper of information. If it's on the internet, then it can come back and tell me. If it's not, then it doesn't know. It's like Siri, just a little bit more advanced and has access to more information. So I was like, why would you say or even propose the question that this man is going out sad? He's getting paid $10 million for 1 year, and he could make 21. Now get this right. Shannon said it's because this is his third team in 3 years. So I guess he's talking about he's talking about Denver, Pittsburgh, and the Giants. So this is what AI came back and said. Well, he was in Pittsburgh, but there's no definitive evidence that Pittsburgh wanted him to stay. That's not true. Remember, I told y'all, if you Google right now, January 30th, the headline said the Pittsburgh Steelers want to keep Russ. So see, that's not true. That's why you can't believe everything you read the AI returns to you. You have to be a researcher. You have to go look for yourself. So that's not true. January 30th, they wanted to keep Russ. And for Shannon to say that, knowing he's an alum of the NFL, I'm like, Shannon, why would you say it? Like, propose that this man is going out sad because he's on his third team in 3 years? Like, you don't know that NFL found guilty of collusion is could be the reason for that. He didn't even bring it up. And then when I'm reading online, I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? That's exactly what the article says. That it's a 61-page report about the NFL being found guilty of collusion. And even AI said, and Russell Wilson is at the center of it because the collusion took place when it came to veteran quarterbacks, guaranteed contracts. The NFL colluded so that veteran QBs would not get fully guaranteed contracts. At the center of the NFL found guilty of collusion announcement, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. So we already see how Russ being treated. We talked about this. We see what happened to Lamar with this, oops, I could hold on to the ball, which sent Baltimore home. Well, I guess now all we got to do is wait and see what happened with Kyler Murray. I mean, my channel not big enough that nobody's going to pick up on it. So it's kind of like really between us to sit back and wait and see if some tomfoolery starts to happen with Kyler Murray. We'll see. So anyway, I didn't like that Shannon put that like that because Shannon is too much in the know in the NFL for him to put that on Russ like that, you know. And then right after that, my feed switched to Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, see, if I could just get rid of these two right here from TV, I think we could replace them with people who really put truth to power. You know, Justin Field only has this year to get it together. I'm like, so when Daniel Jones gonna get on the clock? They just gave him $14 million so he could go prove himself. But you sitting up here saying that Justin Fields has to prove himself. How many years Justin Fields been in the league? All right, he don't need to prove himself yet. But that's what Shannon says. Shannon put down Russ on his show, and Stephen A. put down Justin Fields. But neither one of them are talking about the NFL's found guilty of collusion where Russ is concerned. Is this a possibility? You don't have to say that Russ is being blackballed. You could ask the question, is Russell Wilson being blackballed because he was at the center of a collusion case where the NFL was found guilty recently and nobody's talking about it? But it's a 61-page report that the arbitrators have put out. He could ask that question, right? Just like Stephen A. could ask the question, well, since Justin Fields is on the clock and he just got to the league, is Daniel Jones on the clock? He don't have to say he's on the clock. He can ask the question, but they won't ask the question when it pertains to a white player, which leads me to my interview that I watched. All right. So Shannon Sharpe interviewed Terry Crews. And Terry Crews used to play for the Washington Redskins. It was at the Redskins at the time. Terry Crews talked about how he was there during the CTE era. And during that era of NFL football, they basically told you were weak if you said your head hurt because they didn't believe CTE existed at the time. Now, keep in mind what I just said the NFL was found guilty of, okay? Collusion, all right? Then he talks about how if you are a black player and you had an injury, they made it appear that you were quitting on the team. But if you were a white player, they had more sympathy and they accepted the fact that you could be injured. Now, remember what I just said they're guilty of. So, I was like, God, you know, being in the NFL is just brutal, you know, like that's just crazy. But that wasn't the craziest thing, okay? It's what it takes to get there and stay there. So Terry Crews said that he made the team, right? And apparently for 6 months, he'd been living off of $200 a week, sacrificing everything so he could work out. Like $200 a week. And you got a family. And this is why I say, fellas, based on his story alone, it would have been way less stress if he was not married and had some children. Okay, because the kids had to go to school, this, that, and the other. So he talks about how for 6 months, $200 a week, he makes the first cut. And he did the right thing. And shout out to his wife for him being his ride or die. But I still say, guys, just get to the league first and make sure you're gonna be there for a minute before you bring somebody else along, because it does make it harder and the depression gets worse because you got other people that you have to think about. See, you can move around when it's just you, but when you have kids and a wife, like that pressure is insurmountable sometimes, and that's why sometimes the suicide rate amongst these guys who don't make it to the league is high, and he talks about that. So 6 months, $200, sacrificing everything just so he could get ready, like we see our guys doing right here, right? Trying to work out and get ready for the league. He makes the first cut, right? Then they have another cut where they build their roster, the 53-man roster, the 56-man roster. He makes that cut. And again, they haven't even put their kids in school yet because they just not sure. That's how much making the team changes your life. Everything has to press pause for you to get to this level. So he makes the second cut. And then after that cut, it's time for the first game. I think the second cut come afterwards. So he made some cut. Then it's time for the first game. So if it's a Monday and he said the NFL is off on Tuesdays, that meant Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they getting ready for a game that's going to take place the following Sunday, right? So he said since he had made the cut, he thought he was good. So the day he found out he didn't get cut, he told his wife, go ahead and put the kids in school. So while she was up there registering them for the school, he's thinking he good. He getting ready to get this first game check. That's what they call it. Because he said you don't get paid until you play the first game. So this 6-month sacrifice at $200 a week, putting everything on hold to get ready for the NFL, you're this close to getting that game check because you made the roster for the first game, right? He said later, after she registered the kids, he got a phone call telling him, bring your playbook back up here, because I guess that's what that means. Everybody knows that's what that means. I'm sure it might be an iPad by the day, but the point is he had to bring his playbook back. That meant he didn't make the team. And he said he was just, he kind of went into a depression. And his wife was like, I thought we made it. And he said, I thought we did too. He thought he was about to get to that game check because it would have been worth it if he had gotten to one game check. Imagine you 5 days out from the game check. What did I just say about the Dallas Cowboys having this QB who is this close to a $500,000 incentive and they take him out the game? So essentially, that's what happened to him. And he talked about how it's so disheartening. He said he's even all of these years later, he's still choked up about it. He said, you at the practice facility, you make the first cut or the cut or whatever, and then you see the guys coming in, the veterans coming in with the cars, you see the jewelry, you see the life. It's right there. It's right there. And then it's just gone. Just like that. And I instantly thought about some of our guys. I was like, Lord, have mercy. Because, we see our guys working out every day. Thankfully, they have NIL now. See, it's different now. See, these guys got NIL when they were in school. And if they were smart, they saved that money so that they have money to live off of when it's time to work out. And being able to work out at CU has to be a blessing. Now, yeah, I get it. Now, Shador don't have to work out up there, but he does. And I get it. Travis is probably off doing his own thing, but he has the money. Thankfully, the NIL, right? So he said after that, he had to get a job sweeping floors. And he said, you've been preparing for this your entire life. You don't even know how to be nothing else. And then he said he didn't want to sweep floors. He said, what are people going to think of me? He said his wife told him, they don't know you. I was like, facts. I was like, she is his ride or die. I don't know who his wife is, but she was the calm. And I know y'all probably like, but you didn't want him to get married. I don't, because that's too much. She could have been his girlfriend and told him that. It's too much to put that on you for the uncertainty that's out there, especially if you're not a Travis Hunter or a Shador Sanders. Let's be real. The guys that we just watched in the video, Shiloh's not married. Shiloh, as far as we know, he's single. We don't see him with a wife and a kid in tow. We don't see him about to get married. I know Will Shepherd has a girlfriend, but we don't see where he has these kind of responsibilities to the, like that. He might be engaged. Who knows? I told y'all LaJante have a girlfriend. They all probably have girlfriends, but they don't have fiancés and wives that come with financial obligations. And what if it doesn't work out? See, when you get cut and it's just you can go home to your mama house, cry on your pillow. But when you thought it was going to be this, like Terry Crews' wife said, but I thought we made it. Now, what if she just wasn't that type of person? She seems to be, I don't know her. I never met her, never saw her. But for a woman to calm you down and say, they don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, she in it with you, especially if she was willing to pick up a broom or mop and mop floors too. But the point is, being a husband and a father in that situation has to be more stressful and strenuous and lead to depression, because it's not just you have to think about. And while your dream that you've been working on since you were 7 years old and Pop Warner football is not materializing, and you have to go mop floors, something that you ashamed to do because you coming from the life is right here, to having it snatched away. And he said for a whole year, he set out, he never got a phone call. They brought in a linebacker from another team. And he said, I was right there. And they still went and get somebody else. I was like, damn, why they just couldn't let him play the first game? I mean, why did they have to get this other guy? And he said it never worked out. So he went from mopping floors to being a security guard, like in LA or wherever he was a security guard. They were making movies, I'm assuming LA. And then that's when, and he said it. He said his mindset changed. He said, I had to trick myself into thinking, okay, so if they were going to pay you to mop these floors for $1 million, how would you do it? So in other words, it brought him closer to God. Excellent. He and his wife are still married. That's fine. I still say just be single, because you probably cry a little less. He did go into a depression. See, you might be sad if it's just you, but when you think, I done brought this woman this way, she done put these kids in school. He said the kids looked up at him and was like, wait, so I can't go to this school? See, that's a lot. And the NFL is too much uncertainty. Just get yourself there. Just go play a whole year first. And maybe midway through your second year, when you got you a whole season and a half of game checks, hey, if it don't work out, at least y'all good. At least you're good. And then bring somebody on to that, because it's too much uncertainty. And for somebody to think they made it because they watched people get cut and they thought they were good, and then they get cut. That's uncertainty. That's a lot of uncertainty. So I thought about our guys after listening to Terry Crews' interview. And I like Shannon Sharpe. I like his club Shay Shay. And I don't watch him all the time on Nightcap anymore. I used to. But I do not like how they know Russ not being treated right. They know, because they on the inside, and you would sit up there and say he's going out sad when it's not like he got a choice in the matter. Because if Russ had a choice in the matter, hell, Terry Crews would have had a choice in the matter, right? And based on the way he said they were treated with CTE, when they complained that their head was hurting, or when they had an injury, how they were treated differently from the white players. And he said, I have 30 guys that I know from the NFL. He said one guy, I was his backup. He said they dead. They are deceased. He said the guys I went to high school with that didn't play ball, and I didn't have 30 people in my class. That's what he said. He said they still alive. He said, because there's something to this. He said, and I think what it is whether they drink themselves into the end of their life, or, they just can't handle it, life without football. And these are the ones that played and retired. He said it's always after retirement. So he told Shannon, I'm proud of you. Shannon transformed himself into what he is now, which is admirable. But at least use your platform. If you're not going to say the truth, then don't say nothing. Don't use your platform to drag Russ because the NFL got an issue with Russ, potentially, allegedly, or because Russ was a part of the collusion case and had the guts to file this complaint and this grievance against the NFL, who was found guilty of colluding. Don't come down on Russ because somebody else somewhere allegedly has an issue with Russ, and it potentially could be due to the collusion case. The fact that nobody's talking about it tells you that everybody is going to be silent because they don't want to miss out on their press pass or the right to interview this, that, and the other. That's what I don't like about this being sponsored or belonging to something or wanting to be friends with somebody. If it's going to keep me from speaking the truth, that the NFL was found guilty of collusion and Russ was at the center, and you have to ask the question if he's being blackballed. If I can't ask that question, then what the hell am I doing? How can I call myself a fan and look the other way when it's not making any sense that Russ had to wait until Aaron Rodgers made a decision? And when he didn't, the Giants, who have never to this moment had a black starting quarterback, whether they a veteran or in the draft. I did my research. They have not. And all of a sudden they ready. They were the last team of all 32 teams to even have a black quarterback on their roster. And he only played a few snaps in 1 or 2 games after Eli Manning was benched in week 9. He was never a starter. I'm talking about Geno Smith. So Terry Cruz's story made me think about the guys that are making these sacrifices to get to the league. And I started to wonder, we know Coach Prime was preparing them for the end of football at CU. I remember him distinctly saying, okay, what are you going to do when this is over? Because this is almost over. The NIL checks getting ready to stop. You're going to have to move out. Or you're going to your mom's, or you're going to your girlfriend's. You're going to get your own place. You're going to get a job. And that was like awakening, right? Because this is the end. So I wonder how these guys get prepared to get cut and not go into a deep depression, whether they have a family to feed or not. Or if they play for a few years and they have to retire, or if they play 13 years and they have to retire and they don't have an identity outside of football. Because Terry Crews said players are manipulated into believing that you need the NFL, that the NFL don't need you. He said that's actually the other way around. They need you. You don't need them. He said if you stop and switch and move on to something else, you'll be just fine. He said, but since college, these guys are manipulated into thinking that they need this. And it made me think about how Shador was being treated. And it was like they wanted Shador to feel like he needed the NFL, which is why I told y'all they don't particularly like black wealthy football players because they feel like they have choices. They want the ones that have to do whatever it takes to get to that first game check. And there are so many that don't make it. And what happens to them? What happens to them? So, that's what I was working on today. Our guys get ready for CU Pro Day. And now that we're getting closer and closer to Pro Day, then you're going to hear all this conversation about how they did this, that, and the other. I don't listen to anything they say about Shador anymore because it's obvious when it comes to Shador, they're biased and they're trying to break him like they broke Tiger Woods. And it's not working. And it's not working. And I watched that Tiger Woods interview today and I was going to post it, but it made me so sick to my stomach, I had to delete it because it's heartbreaking that he was such a young man who was just confident and they broke him and told him, oh, you sound cocky. All he said was, if I practice diligently for 3 to 4 days, I believe I can win. And they tried to break him. And I think that they won. And that's what they wanted to do with Shador. So when you hear cocky or arrogant, that's a dog whistle. That's a dog whistle. And it made me think about how Coach Prime instilled in his kids and built them up so much that when Shador got here and Shiloh got here and Bucky got here, that nobody could tear them down. And I thought about Tiger's family, and I don't know. I know when he was 13 or 12, he was on the right path, and they asked him, what he thought about how black people were treated, and he spoke on it. But it seems like after that, and maybe that's when the endorsements started coming in, that he had to change his tune and kind of silence the truth, which is what Shannon is doing, allegedly. And that's disappointing, because if anybody has a front row seat to know about this collusion case, whether he want to talk about the case or not, he know something is going on where Russ is concerned, and it is potentially a possibility that he's being blackballed. We saw how they treated him on the field in Denver. Go look at when the collusion grievance was filed. I would not be surprised if the dates align to what we saw on the field in Denver. They got upset with Russ because he had a contract that had an injury clause in it, and they wanted him to take it out, and he said no. Do you know that there are lawyers out here that you pay $250 an hour to defend the contract that somebody sent to you and you signed it? That's what you're supposed to do. You gave me this contract. You want me to change it. Why? Because you know it's going to create a problem if I don't, even though that's what contracts are for. Russ said he want to play in the league 5 to 7 more years. I said, if Russ here next year, I'll be shocked. That's why I asked, who paid his salary in this year? Is Denver still on the hook for it? Or is New York partially responsible and Denver partially responsible, meaning he had to be in the league this year because they had to pay him? In other words, no matter what he wants, he's not going to get it. So if he's not here next year, it's a possibility, even though he went to his 10th Pro Bowl in Pittsburgh, even though he went to the playoffs, even though Pittsburgh wanted to keep him. Pittsburgh didn't even have a choice in the matter. And you going to tell me that don't look fishy? That don't look suspicious? And nobody, as nosy as some of these media and reporters people are, nobody is asking a question or looking into it or talking about it or making a correlation to what happened with Russ, what happened to Lamar Jackson, and I guess we're going to wait here and see what happens to Kyler Murray. As nosy and inquisitive as reporters and journalists are, nobody's talking about it. That tells you the subject has been hushed, even though there's a 61-page report. That's a lot of pages. When somebody's found guilty of collusion and there's 61 pages, that's a lot that took place. It could have been 2 pages. It could have been 5 pages. 61 pages. And nobody wants to talk about it. So yeah, I'm disappointed that Shannon would create a caption that says Russ is going out sad, or is Russ going out sad? No, he's not. He got paid $10 million for 1 year. He said he wants to start. That's what he's supposed to say. He's not supposed to act like he's not confident. Tiger Woods' interview tells you that sitting there and being polite when people trying to trash you is not beneficial for you. See, that polite game doesn't work, because if they don't like you, they're going to tear you down regardless. And unfortunately, he was young. And the people behind him, I guess they were okay with the polite game. Don't be polite when people are being disrespectful. It will not get you anywhere. And when these sponsors come calling, sometimes that is to keep you in your place, because they'd rather you take the money and shut up and dribble than to speak on the truth. So, Friday, April 4th is pro day. And, I wish all of our guys well. I think after watching Terry Crews' interview, I hope that if somebody from CU doesn't make it, that they're going to be okay. People are talking about how players are going back to get their master's or getting their degree, because at one point in time, a lot of players weren't. Even Coach Pryor went back and got his degree. Shiloh graduated. I don't know about LaJohntay and Jimmy, but I do know Jalen Hurts went back to Alabama and got his master's, or he got it from somewhere. So not only did he graduate, he got his master's. And then I saw Jalen Milroe. He graduated. Shiloh graduated. I hope LaJohntay, who's young, he's 23, Jimmy Horn Jr., and Will Shepherd, I hope that they get their degree. Travis is younger. I hope he gets his degree. And there are going to be people out there who are like, he doesn't need his degree. That's not necessarily the case. Your degree can open doors for you. You can choose to do with it what you want to do with it. I have two. I have a master's, and it does somersaults. It does exactly what I wanted to do. So shout out to Jalen Hurts for going back and get his master's, including Coach Prime. Get y'all's degree. That's why you're there. Get that degree. This NFL life is so short. If only 1% make it, hell, 1% stay past 5 or 7 years or 10 years. It's the extraordinary ones that stay, like Russ, with the tenured careers into 10 years, going to 10 Pro Bowls. So it shows you that even though Russ is 36, still went to a Pro Bowl, still took the teams to the playoff, they don't care about that. I care about making sure you don't get what you want because you had the audacity, allegedly, to file a grievance, to say and stand up to the NFL, to say that we were colluding against you and other veteran quarterbacks. That's why I asked, is this even about winning anymore? Or is this just about controlling and reprimanding and retaliating against people because they stand up to you? Isn't that what the NFL Players Association is supposed to do when things are wrong? But it seems to be some type of punishment if you do. And whether it can be proven or not, I mean, it can. Eventually, you just keep going. It's just going to take more time. That's why I'm telling y'all, that collusion case didn't happen overnight. Go look at when it started. It wouldn't surprise me as to what the date is. All right. So in the comments, everybody's saying hello. See, y'all can join us. Everybody's saying hello. There's 22 people. Hit the like button for me. It says, Dak, no trade clause. As somebody, you're going to have to pick up part of that contract, at least 40%. I got to put a lot of teams over the cap. Oh, okay. Maybe your dream can come true. I don't know. It says he's coming out of college and can throw like Matt Ryan. Okay, who are you talking about, James? I saw that earlier. Jimmy Horn will be the steal of the draft. Yep. It said, hello, what she said in chat. If Shador goes to Dallas Cowboys, do you know the excitement that will be in Dallas? Exactly. Like, that's what I meant by the business side of it. That I told somebody, I said, when they said, I guess since Jerry Jones signed Dak Prescott, we not getting Shador. I'm like, Jerry Jones will get rid of that contract if that's what we got to do. And if he willing to pull a quarterback off the field so he don't have to pay him $500,000, he gonna figure out a way. And he told Shador in New Orleans, we're gonna have to do a lot of trading. That's a big trade. So yeah, I do know. I see it from a business perspective. And you know what? I don't even know if the excitement would be there in Vegas like it is in Dallas. Dallas is homegrown. He's from Dallas. Coach Prime played in Dallas. That's like going back home. Like, that's huge. I read an article today about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were actually interviewing a quarterback who was from Tampa. You know why that makes sense? Because that's home. And people rally around, oh, that kid played at so-and-so high school, or we remember him. That's like if Travis played for the Falcons. Come on now. It's a no-brainer. So Shador playing in Dallas is not only star powers because he's a Sanders and Coach Prime played there, and they from Dallas. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. So if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. So Kiel say he gonna boycott Jerry Jones because he don't like the product. I mean, the Giants is not much better. If I gotta choose between the Giants and Dallas, I'm taking Dallas. How you doing, Jackie? How you doing? Hey, Queen, you're so right. I have a diehard Cowboy fan, and he has said he would like to see that. The Cowboy fans want to see Shador. They thought Coach Prime was coming with it, but apparently that's not happening. And they still okay with it. And I told y'all, if I could find a picture of Jerry Jones and that smile, he wasn't looking at Coach Prime. I think he was looking at Shador. They were standing there together. He was excited. That man knows what that means to that franchise. Just the possibility, is excitement. Just the possibility. And so you were talking about the media and the hate towards Shador. He is clearly a pocket passer and not a move the chain or check down QB. None of these dual threat QBs have the distance ability he has. I mean, you know, uh, I don't even know why that even matters. What is Joe Burrows? Is he a dual threat quarterback? No. So, that's just something to say. Again, Shador's name in the caption for the media gets clicks. Does it have to be negative? No, it doesn't. But that's just the route that they choose to go. It doesn't have to be. There's so much you could talk about with Shador. You could compare all the quarterbacks to each other. I haven't seen that happen yet. I have not seen all the quarterbacks compared. In fact, I saw an interview with Shador. They asked him about his friendship with Cam Ward, and he talked about, it's great that we're friends because if we weren't, the media would try to pit us against each other. He's so right. That's why Shador taking a photo with Geno Smith. You see, they're not even talking about that. When Geno Smith got there, they were so excited because they felt like it was blocking Shador from starting. But then when Shador and Geno appeared in a photo together, there was nothing else to say. There was nothing else to say. I was referring to, Shador and the media hate. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you. Hey, Crowley, welcome, welcome, welcome. Queen T, just like Tony Romo, give me several opportunities. Okay, these are Giants fans that do not like Dallas Cowboy fans. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, let me know how do you feel? Are you excited about the possibility of Shador Sanders being drafted by the Dallas Cowboys? Now, I'm not asking if you think it's gonna happen or not. I'm asking if it happens, whether you think it is or not, how do you feel about it? All right. It says Shannon is a company man. Yeah. And that's crazy, Kiel, because it's his company. I could see if he was on ESPN asking that question. Like Stephen A was on ESPN talking about Justin Fields on the clock, which is crazy. I'm like, I know it's people in the comments, and I didn't even watch that. I scrolled, I saw it, and I kept it pushing. But Shannon, for him to be a company man, is his company. So if it's your company, why do you have to subscribe to this negativity about Russell Wilson instead of asking, is Russell Wilson being blackballed, or why is it that Pittsburgh said in January they wanted Russ to come, but they wanted Russ to stay there, but suddenly he got to be shifted out? I mean, I think more people will really want to know the truth about that. And it's not like he doesn't know, and it's his company. He wasn't at ESPN when he said that. So I don't understand. If you have your own show, why can you not be honest? Why can you not discuss the truth? Queen T says she agreed with what Kiel just said. And you notice that he got a job as a sports analyst without any struggle, in my opinion. Yeah, that's true. And they fired, what's his name? RG3, and I still don't know why that happened. Not that I watched, but it was just kind of weird. It say you're right. They relate a lot of them to the sideline reporters before they become an analyst. Yeah. Making it, I mean, that's like Cam Newton. Cam Newton went from his podcast to ESPN, but I don't think he on ESPN no more. I haven't seen him. I've seen Louis Riddick. And the interesting thing about that, I said a few weeks ago, I didn't like Louis Riddick's tape about Shador because he was trying to compare Shador and Cam, and he was putting Shador down, trying to elevate Cam, which was totally unnecessary. And then he ended up on ESPN. And remember, Cam Newton ended up on ESPN after he did what? Started disparaging Shador after the UCF game, and then after the throwing all the guys under the bus, which was just hella messy. Remember the whole Bryce Young thing, Shador Sanders, Jalen Green, and Tyrese Maxey? After that, he ended up on ESPN. And people have speculated that if Shannon had changed, once he joined ESPN, did he start doing more of their bidding in terms of stories? And some people say yes. And I know I stopped unfollowing at that point. And then there was the whole Ocho situation with Ocho's fiance. You know, people before the whole fiance fiasco, people were saying that Shannon was hella disrespectful to Ocho. And then what happened? Uh, Shannon ends up on a live stream and he don't know how. And Shannon's so good at spin and marketing, he made people he left people confused as to if it was intentional or was he being set up. I think he was set up because of the timing and what they were talking about. That was the time about a day or two before, not even a whole week. That's when Ocho showed up late to their set when they were doing the live shows. And Shannon went off on Ocho, chastising him like he was a child, berating him, telling him he was unprofessional. How you want to be on ESPN if you don't even do this, that, and the other? And people went in on Shannon. That's when I started. I think that's when I started. That's when I unfollowed. And people were like, "Why are you talking to that man like he a child like that?" And I was like, "And they his coworkers, like they partners in this, or maybe." Ocho's an employee. And I was like, if Ocho's an employee, Shannon, you unprofessional. Because you sit up here berating this man on public. Don't y'all talk to each other every day? You could have called him on the phone. Y'all could have had a little conference and you could have told him, I don't appreciate you showing up late. And as a professional, blah, 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 I'm gonna have to get somebody else if you can't do it. But to berate him publicly and put him down and embarrass him, and then the next thing, what happens? He's on a live stream with somebody he allegedly works with, which is what? Hella unprofessional. So it was given, okay, so you put him on blast for being unprofessional. Well, I'm gonna put you on blast for being unprofessional. And that's what it looked like. And he put so much spin on it, making t-shirts out of it. He was hella embarrassed. Even Coach Prime, made fun of it to the point where people felt like he did it intentionally. I'm like, no, I think he got set up. I think he got set up because he was intimately involved with somebody he worked with, which is hella unprofessional. And you just went in on Ocho for being hella unprofessional. So you a hypocrite. And then what happens after that? The whole thing with Ocho's fiance, they split up, and Shannon trying to get her on a podcast or get her podcast on his network. Mind you, he got a partnership with somebody else's network, but he was trying to do his own thing, which is respectful, is scaling. I get it. But should you have talked to Ocho about that first? And his response was, Shannon's response was, well, she said you was cool with it. I'm like, so why you ain't ask him? Why you got to let her tell you what he said? You talk to him every freaking day. You see what I'm saying? It was like he does things to benefit his own position. And that was just ugly. So the fact that I even started Terry Crews interview is interesting in itself because I haven't followed. And I think ever since the fiance thing, I don't follow any of it because it just looks like he doesn't respect the man. And for him to say Russ is going out sad, or to ask if Russ going out sad, and not bring up the fact that this man just went to his 10th Pro Bowl and he took Pittsburgh to the playoffs. And they could have made it if the person he called Lazy George Pickens was doing his job. But he made it all about Russ because he's been to 3 different teams, as if there's not a reason why he's been to 3 different teams, as if he wasn't publicly humiliated and lambasted in Denver. Why he didn't talk about that? It's like it's all on Russ. I don't like it. I don't like it because it's like he's doing the bidding of someone else on his own show, and that just doesn't make any sense. I could see if you were at the ESPN desk. You're at your own house, your own studio. So why do you have to partake into dragging another black man who may possibly be being blackballed? And you could just look into it if you really wanted to know the truth. It's 61 pages out there. Let me see you talk about that. So that's where I'm at on that. So anyway, that should have been part of their collegiate prep programs. Well, according to Terry Crews, he feels that athletes, football players are manipulated from college days until, to make it seem like you need the league. But he didn't say if there's any type of exit program counseling to make sure they're okay. But he did talk about the large numbers of men that have passed on after their careers in the NFL ended, as opposed to the ones he went to school with that didn't go down the NFL path, that that are still alive. And he said it. He said there's something to this. And I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. So, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I support the players. I keep saying it, and I told y'all if we didn't have these guys coming into the league, I don't think I know I wouldn't watch it. I'm already looking out the side of my eye at the UFL, knowing looking at the numbers on how people on social media are gravitating towards it because all of this negativity, this not good. It's not healthy, and it's given the appearance. Um, that if you a black player, they will do this to you, like what they doing, trying to negate Shador. But you never see them do this to any white players. And the more disturbing part of it is, they know we have eyes and can see, and they don't care. And what was the NFL found guilty of? Okay, so unfortunately, there's few black men out there who, for their own personal gain or whatever they get out of it, be it monetary or clicks, I don't care what it is. They are willing to sell other black men up the river, and that's how slavery got started. And it's the same thing. People use the term Uncle Tom and debate over whether Uncle Tom was this, that, and the other. You don't even need Uncle Tom. You could just go back to how slavery got started. There were people who did not want to be slaves. So they say, don't take me. Let me go get them. That's the same thing. That's the same thing. Because I don't want to be in harm's way. I'm going to go ahead and put somebody else in harm's way. Because I want to come to your picnic. I don't like it. So, the fact that Terry Crews was talking about how black players are treated differently way back then with the whole injuries, I bet it's not that much difference now. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying there's so much Shannon could talk about because, and I even said it earlier today. I was talking about this. I said, what does he have to lose? His brother made it to the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, what do you have to lose about telling the truth? Like, why sit up there and either not talk about the NFL, but when something like what happens with Russ comes along, you don't want to talk about what could potentially be happening. And if you want to say you don't know, then I'm going to say Google it. I mean, common sense. There are people who just regular people that's not a part of NFL alumni who are like, why are they forcing Aaron Rodgers on Pittsburgh? And why are they forcing Russ somewhere else when he was doing so well? And, the question is it because the NFL collusion? Is it because of that and he's being blackballed? Or is it because he was getting ready to make a run for it? Or is it because they ready to fire Mike Tomlin, so we're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in here knowing he's not going to do well, and then we're going to have something to stand on? There's a couple of scenarios he could go, but the fact that he said, is he going out sad, is preposterous. He just went to his 10th Pro Bowl, took the team to the playoffs. Where do you get this from? Why would you say something like that? So, my son played baseball, and he has graduated. It says, this made with his degree in finance. Yay! Okay. So your son plays sports, and he's graduating with his degree. Right. I actually saw an article, I guess a story about players that went to college in West Virginia. Now, if y'all know anything about this, apparently if you went to college in West Virginia, I don't know which school or if this is the state of Virginia, I think they do something outside of your scholarship if you played football or something where you could get your degree and then you could come back and get your master's. And eligibility does not get in the way. You know how we talked about Nakai Hill-Green? And I was like, why did he have to leave? And they said because his undergrad eligibility ran out, which don't make no sense to me because Shiloh was still there. But I don't know if it's because Shiloh came late. And Shiloh couldn't even start playing football at CU until he graduated from Jackson State. I remember when he came out, he couldn't even touch the uniform. He had to actually graduate over there first. And maybe because he was a grad over here. So something about grad eligibility ran out. So he went to Alabama. And that's what I heard. I don't know. But it sounds like if you play ball in West Virginia, you could not only end up with your bachelor's, there's some programs set up where you can get your master's. And that's what made me think about Jalen Hurts. And I was like, congratulations to Jalen Hurts because he got his master's. He didn't have to get his master's, but why not? You don't know how long. It's too much uncertainty with the NFL. If you make it like Terry Crews, like his wife said, I thought we made it. And then you get cut. You got to turn in your playbook. And then if you make it past year 2, I mean, injury could disrupt that. And then now with the 4-year contracts, you might get on year 3, you might get 1 year to go to year 4, but will they sign you after year 4? You probably gonna need to be a star. You know what I mean? I mean, look at what T. Higgins went through. And his mom spoke out because she felt like, I think, she said the Bengals was being cheap because they didn't want to give him a contract as if they valued him. They kept putting him on a 30-day trial, but for like a season. And she was like, that's just being cheap when you could just go ahead and give him a contract. And then he got his contract. And then it seemed all well and good. So people start looking at the contract and they just was like, it's not a good contract. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but who the league chooses to value, who they choose, who the media chooses to tear down with the league standing in the background. The league could speak out about this. If you want to keep coming to report on these games, I need you to stop disparaging the NFL draft prospects. They can do that. They could do it. I'm telling you, people have already said it. They would never. Somebody said, watch the way they cover Arch Manning and look at how they treated Shedeur this year. We talked about this at home. We said, it seems like the Mannings are like that NFL legacy family for like a lot of white people. And then the Sanders are that NFL legacy family, the equal of that Manning's family, but for black people. Would y'all agree with that? That black and white people view the Mannings and the Sanders differently based on who you are? Like, as a football fan, like, okay, I know who Arch Manning is. I also know who Deion Sanders is. I gravitate towards where? Deion Sanders. I'm happy for Arch Manning, the grandson. I'm happy for him. I think that's great. But am I probably going to watch UT? No. But I'm going to watch Colorado. I'm going to watch the NFL because of the Sanders. Honestly, I'm just going to go ahead on and say it. If Shedeur probably wasn't in his thing and Jimmy Horn Jr., if it was just Shedeur and Travis, if Shedeur had 1 more year at CU and say Travis was coming out this year, I probably wouldn't follow it. So that Sanders name is that strong. I probably would hear about, oh, Travis did this. I'm like, that's cool. But when I say actively paying attention and talking about it in conversation, Shedeur, which is why they're using his name for clickbait. But it does not have to be negative. That's my entire point. It's negative because you want to disparage him and you want to tear down his confidence in the same manner that they did to Tiger Woods. So congratulations, Queen T, on your son getting his degree in finance. It said, not to mention, you can be that guy in the league and experience a career-ending injury. That's what the next move, right? And that's what we're talking about. It's too much uncertainty. Like, now that I actually know more about it, when I listened to Terry Crews, one of the things he talked about after he got cut, there were guys he was friends with, right? They made the team. So here he is. He don't have a job. And he calling up the guys to see how they doing, see what they're doing, here, that, and the other. They said, oh, we got a game. And he was like, well, I guess I can't hang out with them no more. That's how your life changes. So imagine the guys that we have that are up there working out together right now. And one of them don't make it. How does it change the dynamic of the friendship? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But if 3 of them are in the league and one of them doesn't make it, that's probably going to be kind of hard. Or if the wide receiver core make it and then, Shiloh doesn't. That's going to be hard. When I listen to Shiloh talk, when Coach Prime asked him, what kind of car you want if you run a 440? He said, well, the kind of league me and Shedeur in. And then he caught himself. He said, well, Shedeur in a different league now. Yeah, he is. He is. This is where they separate. That's not easy. So if he ends up like Jerry Rice's son and they draft him dead last, how's he gonna feel about it? Is he gonna be like, you know what, I'm not showing up for this. I don't need this. Because I think that was kind of crazy to do that to Jerry Rice's son. I mean, for people to say he was going third round and he dead last. Like he was so last, there were no numbers on his financials or anything. And even his first year stats weren't there. But I know he played, I think, for the Chargers or the Rams or somebody. I'm assuming he's still in the league. But do you hear anybody talking about it? And we know Jerry Rice is a legend. And if his son actually made it and it made it past the first year and he's still there, and it's not the team that Jerry Rice played for, why don't they talk about it? There are strings attached to having your own show. There's a difference. Yeah, there must be. There must be. There must be. I can't imagine because nobody calls me and tells me anything. I just decide when I'm going live and what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna talk about. And it's just me and YouTube. I follow their guidelines. I'm good. The Pivot is a show of brothers that stands on business. Now, you know, people like the Pivot. Even though Ryan Clark is now catching heat because apparently there was some beef with a guy named Asante Samuels and Coach Prime, not really, but he had something to say about who was the best at, I guess, their position or something. And apparently Ryan Clark was already catching flack from this guy named Marcellus Wiley, who got fired from like Fox or something like that, and said that Ryan Clark was race baiting. So that was one thing. Then a week later, the Asante Samuels guy is now going in on Ryan Clark. Why is everybody going in on Ryan Clark if there are 4 people or 3 people on the Pivot? If there are 3 people on the Pivot and Ryan Clark says something, don't the other 2 people have an opinion? So why are people trying to go in on one person of a 3-man crew? I don't know. So Colin Kaepernick is never mentioned anymore, and I think they did him wrong. Of course they did. They would have rather paid him $10 million to settle than for him to come back. Because why? Control. You're not about to get your way around here. That's what it is. That's the same thing that I see happening to Russ. I could see if did Aaron Rodgers go to the Pro Bowl last year? Did he take his team to the playoffs? All right, then. Did it look like he was getting ready to run it back and win? No. Did they put pieces around him like DK Metcalf? I mean, I know they did Devontae Adams, but it still didn't work out. No, but Russ did, and they still forced him out of Pittsburgh. Why? Because he said he wanted to stay. If he didn't say anything, I'm telling you, if Russ had been like, well, I don't care where I go. You notice Shador was like, it don't matter where I go. You know why that works? Because I can't trash you about a particular team because I don't know what you want to do. So I don't know what to say. I just got to be general with it. I have to find something to try to tear you down in a manner. I can't say, oh, the Raiders aren't interested in this person or the Raiders, because I don't know if you want to go to the Raiders because you keep telling people I don't know. That's why I don't know works. If Russ hadn't said that he wanted to stay in Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh hadn't said that they wanted to keep Russ, he might still be in Pittsburgh. If he was QB2 in Pittsburgh, he would still be in Pittsburgh. But because he was QB1 and he was supposed to be QB2, see, that's what people are omitting. They're not paying attention. When he left Denver, he was supposed to be QB2, which means he didn't get what he wanted. And what happened? Because of who his coach was, he ascended to QB1, and they damn near got there. So we're going to make sure that don't happen. So you're going to either go to Cleveland or you're going to go wherever Aaron Rodgers don't go. That's them trying to treat him that's them trying to make him feel like he's less than because he gets whatever's left over from Aaron Rodgers. But then Aaron Rodgers dragged his feet so long. And at one point, I did wonder. I said, I wonder if Aaron Rodgers dragged his feet to let Russ end up somewhere first. So now, you know, when they said he was staying out for a year, they said he just playing a game. They said they think he trying to get his way to Minnesota. And what did Minnesota say they wanted to do? Keep who? Okay. So Aaron Rodgers is somewhere out here either trying to force Pittsburgh to give up something, or he trying to force his way to Minnesota. And Minnesota said, J.J. McCarthy's our quarterback. But see, they don't have a QB2. Had they still had Daniel Jones in Minnesota, then guess what? There will be nowhere for Rodgers to be. But for whatever reason, they might have got played and convinced, hey, let us go ahead and take Daniel Jones. We'll pay him $14 million, and he could compete with Anthony Richardson. So now all you got is one quarterback. You need a 2 and a 3. So which one of them Aaron Rodgers is going to be? They don't want nobody to compete with J.J. McCarthy. They just want him to be QB1. But there are people out there who don't want that because they said he's 22. How old is Jaden Daniels? I think he might be 24. Michael Penix Jr. is 24, and they say he needed to sit for a year in Atlanta. They talking about he needed to sit for a year behind Kirk Cousins. Okay. So, Shannon don't know Russell he might turn the New York Giants around. Yes, they are blackballing Russ no matter what he do. Right. This man is actually doing well, and you going to make him wait for a team to choose where he should go. And I knew when he went to Cleveland, it was like, well, he went to Cleveland and there wasn't no offer. I was not surprised about that. The Giants actually said they was upset with Aaron Rodgers because he was taking too long. So nobody could force Aaron Rodgers to make a decision, but Russ just had to wait. And here it is. He ends up in New York, and he think he QB1. I mean, he should be. But they still going to draft somebody, and I want to see who they draft. And I hope and pray it's not the quarterback that wore number 2 for Colorado. You know what? So, let them get somebody else. They play with somebody else's career. I'm like, I don't think they should play with nobody else's career, but I don't definitely want them playing with Shedeur. Ryan Clark's comments were made on Twitter versus Samuels, and he was defending Deion against Samuels. Comparison of him and Deion. He was defending Deion against Samuels comparison. Oh, okay. So that was on Twitter. I was like, why didn't nobody else catch no flag? I don't know. It's always Ryan Clark. They just seem to keep going in on him. All right. Well, we shall see. All right, y'all. We've been on here for an hour and 27 minutes. We're going to get out of here. It is Sunday night. Tomorrow is Monday, 4 days until CU Pro Day. I think it's on NFL Network or something. So y'all will be able to see it. You just got to figure out how to watch it if you don't have the app. And I did not pay the NFL $14 this month. So I won't be seeing it live. I'll be seeing the replay. I'm sure Bucky will be there. I don't think Bucky goes live. So I'll just have to watch it when he posts it. That's usually what happened. We all just kind of sit around and wait for him to post so we can, catch the latest as to what's going on. So I always appreciate Bucky for his efforts. So, all right, y'all. Well, this was awesome. Great, great, great conversation. Let's wish our guys well, not just at CU Pro Day, but if they all get drafted and, we want them to have long, healthy careers. And then if somebody doesn't make it, we want to rally around them and hope that they're okay and they're set up for the future. All right, y'all. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Atlanta. Good night. Thank y'all. 23 of us in the chat. Please hit the like button. Thank you. Please hit the like button, and we'll conclude tonight's podcast with music from What She Said. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. I love how y'all have a conversation in the chat. I don't have to worry about keep looking over there to see if y'all are entertained, because y'all entertain yourself. A self-sufficient chat. You gotta love it.
Yeah, welcome fam, Mr. 5. Break it down, talking sports, hard and hustle. Wear the crown, subscribe to the journey. Don't sleep on the grind. Hit the like button. Come on, don't be blind. Hit that like, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes. Together we rose, reaching higher and higher. From roots to the griddle, we cover it all. Champions rise and together we never fall. Join the fam, we celebrate every win. What she said, let's meet where the passion begins. Hit that light, don't be stingy now. Join the movement, let's show them how. What she said, we bring the vibes. Together we rose, reaching higher and higher. Welcome aboard, let's make it loud. What you say, with our other crowd.